Hello students and namaste everyone. I am Dhaval sir and our today's topic is your unit 1 chapter, that is your literature part from Honeydew, the best Christmas present in the world by Michael Morpurgo. So, the best Christmas present in the world is a very interesting or a very heart touching story by Michael Morpurgo. In this story, the writer himself buys a desk or a table in which he finds a letter which was written by an English soldier named Jim McPherson to his wife Connie. So, when the writer finds this letter, he goes to meet Connie, who is Mr. McPherson's wife, and he goes to meet her just to hand over her the letter which was written for her. Okay, so the main characters of this story is the writer or the narrator himself, that is Michael Morpurgo, then Jim McPherson. He is a leader of the English army, right? He is a soldier and he is also the leader of an English army. Then there is Connie, who is Mrs. McPherson or Mr. McPherson's wife, right? Connie. Then there is Hans Wolf. He is a leader of the German army. Okay, he is the leader of the soldiers of German army. So the main theme of this story, the best Christmas present in the world, depicts universal brotherhood and friendliness. So in this story, when we'll go through the whole chapter line by line, you will find some of the words, that is the word meanings or the hard words, right? Then you will find some of the pictures which I have placed in the slides. Okay, fine. So we were talking about the theme. So the theme of this story depicts universal brotherhood and friendliness, and when we'll read out the story, we'll find that during the time of First World War, in this story there is a description about two different armies, that is an English army and a German army, right, who are at their post on the borders. And as the Christmas eve is nearby, as the Christmas is nearby, they get together, which shows that they don't want any kind of fight. And this enemy camps, that is both the countries are actually the enemies, right? Though this both the countries were enemy during the World War One. So this enemy camps of soldiers suggest through their behavior that they wanted peace and harmony, right? And these soldiers who are living at the borders, they also want to live peacefully with their families. So that is what which theme of the story, that is what we can understand from this chapter. Okay, so now we'll start with the explanation of the chapter, that is line by line. Okay, so this chapter is basically divided into three parts. Okay, in the first part there is a description given about the writer or the narrator, that he finds a roll top desk, that is a table. Then in the second part, we'll see the letter, right, the description about the whole letter which was written by Jim McPherson for his wife Connie. And in the third part of the story, we will see that how the writer or the narrator tries to find out the wife of Jim McPherson, that is Connie, and how does he hand over the letter which he found in the desk, and how it was a best Christmas present for Connie. Okay, so let's start with the chapter. First paragraph. I spotted it in a junk shop in Bridport. A roll top desk. So spotted it. Spotted means saw. Right. So I here represents the writer or the narrator, that is Michael Morpurgo. So he saw in a junk shop. So junk shop means a shop who is selling the scrap, right? Second hand goods or a scrap, we can say. So in a junk shop in Bridport is the name of a place. A roll top desk. Now a roll top means what, right? So I've given a picture over here. Roll top means it is not a kind of a round table, it is the kind of a table which is given over here, you can see, right? It is a kind of a table, okay, on the upper part of which we can see, right? So the meaning also I have given, that a type of writing table with a cover that you can push back or pull down. So in the picture you can see, one picture the cover is not there, and the other picture it is covered, the top portion is covered. So this is a picture of a roll top desk. The man said it was early 19th century and oak. Oak is a kind of a tree and from which furniture is made, and the furniture of oak tree is very expensive and very precious also, right? I had wanted one. So I here means the writer. So the writer was in search of such kind of table and he wanted that kind of table, but they were far too expensive. So as I said that the furniture made from the oak tree is very expensive, and as the writer wanted to purchase one table or a desk, but as it was very expensive he could not. This one was in a bad condition, right? The table or the desktop or the desk which the writer sees is in a bad condition. The roll top in several pieces, so some parts of the table was not in a proper condition. One leg clumsily mended. So here clumsily means badly or awkwardly made or done. Mended means repaired. Right. So it was a very old table, and before selling it, someone might have mended or repaired it, but it was not done in a proper way. It was the work was done in a very clumsy manner. Scratch marks all down one side. So scratch mark means the here, that is the sign of the burns, right? See, you can see at last below the paragraph scratch marks meaning is given, that is burn marks. So some part of the table was burnt away. Okay, so scratch marks all down one side. It was going for very little money. It was going means here it means it was going to be sold, or it was sold for very little money, that is very cheaply. I thought I could restore it. So here the writer says that when he sees the condition of the table, he thinks that he can again repair or mend the table and bring restore it means to bring it back to its original position or the shape. It would be a risk, a challenge, but I had to have it. Why writer is saying that? Because this table or the desk was available at a very cheap price, and the furniture or the table or the desk which were new, right, which were brand new, were very very expensive, which the writer could not afford. I paid the men and brought it back to my workroom at the back of the garage. I began work on it on Christmas Eve. So here the writer is saying that now he has started repairing this table. I removed the roll top completely and pulled out the drawers. So here you can see the roll top, right? The cover which is there on the table, that is the roll top cover. So the writer removed that. Then you can see many drawers are there in it, which were also removed by the writer. The winner had lifted almost everywhere. So what is the meaning of winner? a thin layer of plastic or decorative wood on furniture of cheap woods. So many a times in usually we say that sanmaika in Gujarati, right? So it is a kind of thin layer of plastic or a decorative wood which is placed on the wood main furniture, right, to make it more attractive or beautiful. So the winner had lifted almost everywhere. So many a times we have seen when the furniture gets wet with water, right, so the woods get swollen and the winner is removed or it is getting up. It looked like water damage to me. Both fire and water had clearly taken their toll on this desk. So, taken their toll means damaged, right? So, here the writer says that the fire as well as the water both had damaged the desk totally. Okay. Then the last drawer was stuck fast. So there were many drawers. Among them, the last one was stuck fast. So stuck fast means shut tight, right? Many times, if the furniture is not open, or as I said, due to the water, right, the furniture getting wet, it gets swollen. The wood gets swollen, and it becomes very difficult to open. We might have experienced this thing during the monsoon season, that during the monsoon when there is a rainfall our doors get stuck, right, it's not easy to open the doors. Okay, so what the writer is saying, in the end I used brute force. Brute means very violent force, right? So he's using all his force to open the drawer. I struck it sharply with the side of my fist. Fist means like this. This becomes your fist. Okay. So, side of my fist, and the drawer flew open to reveal. Reveal means to show. Right. When the drawer opened, something was there inside which came to the notice of the writer. Right. Open to reveal a shallow space underneath. Shallow means which is not very deep. Okay, so a shallow space underneath, a secret drawer. So when he opened the drawer, inside the drawer also there was a small drawer, right? There was something in there. I reached in and took out a small black tin box. So inside that small drawer there was a small box, okay, and it was sellotaped around it. It was taped with a sellotape. Sellotaped to the top of it was a piece of lined note paper. So in a lined paper something was written on it in shaky handwriting. Shaky means trembling, right, like this. Jim's last letter, received January 25th 1915. So on that paper which was stuck on the box was written Jim's last letter, and the date is received when it was received. So received on January 25th 1915. Okay, to be buried with me when the time comes. So these are the wordings which are actually written by Jim McPherson's wife. The name is Connie. I knew as I did it that it was wrong of me to open the box, but curiosity got the better of my scruples. It usually does. So these are the wordings by the writer. What he is saying, that what he had done, he had opened the drawer and he had found someone's letter and he had opened that letter. So which is absolutely wrong, right? Whenever we find the belongings of someone like a letter or anything, it is very personal, so we should not open it by ourselves. So he is saying that I knew as I did it that it was wrong of me to open the box, but curiosity got the better of my scruples. So here he is trying to say that there was so much curiosity in me that I could not stop myself, or I could not control myself from doing something which was wrong. It usually does. So writer says that when his curiosity rises too much and he cannot control his feelings and he does something which he should not do. Inside the box there was an envelope. The address read Mrs. Jim McPherson, right? Who is Mrs. Jim McPherson? The name is Connie. 12 Copper Beaches, Bridport, Dorset. So this is a address which was written on the letter. I took out the letter and unfolded it. That means he is opening the letter and is trying to read the letter. It was written in pencil and dated at the top December 26th, 1940. So this is all about the description which is given about the letter. Now comes the second part, right? So as I said in the beginning only, that the second part consists of the letter which was written by Jim McPherson to his wife Connie. So what does the soldier or the McPherson, that is Jim McPherson, write to his wife? Dearest Connie, I write to you in a much happier frame of mind. So here happier frame of mind means this suggests that the person who is writing this letter was in a very good mood. He was very happy because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you about at once. So he is saying that something very good has happened which he feels that he must share with her immediately. We were all standing too in our trenches yesterday. So what is trenches basically? So I have written the meaning: long deep ditches. Ditches means khadda in the ground where soldiers hide from the enemy. We can also say bunkers, right? In the movies, right, about the war and everything, we'll find the soldiers hiding themselves in a ditch or a bunker, which is known as trenches. So what the writer of this letter is saying: we were all standing to our trenches yesterday morning, Christmas morning. It was crisp and quiet. Crisp means very smooth, right? The atmosphere was very good enough, and quiet all about. As beautiful a morning as I have ever seen. So he's saying it was a very cool and smooth morning, right? Which the writer says that I have never seen. As cold and frosty. Frosty also means very, very cold. As cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. So as we all know that usually the Christmas is celebrated in the western part, right, and in the European countries where the atmosphere is very, very cool, right? So here the Jim McPherson is saying that the Christmas morning, as it should be, it was very, very cold. I should like to be able to tell you that we begin it, but the truth, I am ashamed to say, is that Fritz began it. First, someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite. So here there is a description about two group of armies. That is, one, as I said, is the English army and the other one is the German army. So this is the story about 1914 to 15, during which there was World War I and England and Germany were enemies of each other. And this is the story in which there is a description about Christmas, the day of Christmas, when both these armies were at their position against each other. Okay, so here Fritz means what, right? So Fritz, here a name for a German soldier. Fritz is a common German name, right? So whenever we will talk about Fritz, Fritz means it is the name which is given to the German soldiers. The German soldiers were known as Fritz. Okay, and there is a description about another name which is Tommy. So here Fritz means a German soldier and Tommy is a general name which is given to the English soldiers. Okay, so the writer of the letter, that is Jim McPherson, says that as he is saying that I am ashamed to say is that Fritz began it. So what did the Fritz begin? We'll see on the next page. Then they were calling out to us from across no man's land. So this is very important to understand what is no man's land. So we have seen that between two countries there is a border, right? It is uh, means the border is made with the fencings or with the walls or anything, right? So between the border, right, if there is a one country, this is the border of that country, and this is the border of another country, and this space which is between the border of two countries, right, that is known as the no man's land. So that space belongs to no one, either of the country, right? No country has control over that place. It is no man's land. So what is said over here? Then they were calling out to us from across no man's land. That means the opposite side army soldiers, that is the German soldiers, they were calling the Tommy. Tommy, as I said, it is a common English name used here to refer to British soldiers. So they were calling the British soldiers, what they were saying, Happy Christmas, Tommy, Happy Christmas. When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back. So actually it is very surprising thing, because the armies at the border belongs to a different country who are enemies of each other, right? So we don't expect such kind of behavior from the enemy. But as the soldiers from the opposite side were saying Happy Christmas, they were greeting the soldiers of the English army, right? So this English soldiers, that is the Tommy, they were very much surprised. And after they came out of the surprise, even someone from the British or the English army also shouted back, same to you Fritz, same to you. Understood? I thought that would be that. That would be that means that was all. That was the end of the matter. That means here the writer of this letter, that is Jim McPherson, he thought that that's it. The German army soldiers wished us Happy Christmas, and some of the soldiers from our side, they also wished Happy Christmas to them, and that's it. What the writer had thought, but it was not the end, right? So we'll see how the story moves ahead. When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back, same to you, Fritz, same to you. I thought that would be that. We all did. But then suddenly one of them was up there in his great coat and waving a white flag. So your great coat means the uniform which is in grey color and which is the uniform of the Germans or the German soldier. So one of the soldiers stood up and he was waving the white flag. So usually we know that white flag is a symbol of a peace. So by raising the white flag, he was saying, don't shout, lads. Lads means friends, right? Don't shoot, lads. Someone shouted and no one did. So as he had raised the white flag, it was a sign of a peace, and he also shouted that don't shoot. So no one did it. Okay. Then there was another Fritz up on the parapet. Parapet means a low wall at the edge of a platform, roof, or bridge. So I'll give you one example. We all have a terrace at our home, whether we stay in a bungalow or a flat, right? So there we find a short wall. Okay, at the top of the terrace we find a short wall, right? That wall is known as parapet or the parapet. Okay, then there was another Fritz up on the parapet, and another. So slowly, one by one, all the Fritz, that is the German soldiers, came up or out from their trenches or the bunker. Keep your heads down, I told the men. It's a trick. So here these words are spoken by the writer of this letter. Who is the writer of this letter? That is Jim McPherson. So he is saying, he was the leader of the English army. So he is saying to his soldiers that don't raise your hands, because he thought that this was a kind of a trick, right? Usually we have seen that in army, many times when the people are at war, they use some or the other kind of tricks to defeat their army. So here Jim is saying to his soldiers that don't raise your hand, keep your heads down. Okay, it might be a kind of a trick, but at last what he is saying, but it wasn't. So in real sense, it was not a kind of a trick. The German soldiers, they were genuinely out of their trenches, and they didn't want any kind of war. One of the Germans was waving a bottle above his head. So usually we have seen that in foreign countries they celebrate any kind of festival or any kind of occasion by having the drinks, right? And while drinking they put their bottle on their head. Okay, so one of the German was waving a bottle above his head. It is a Christmas day, Tommy. We have schnapps. Schnapps means what? So, schnapps means a German drink made from grain, right? As from grains we have seen a kind of beer, right? It is also a kind of a drink. In the similar way, schnapps is also a kind of a drink. So, the Fritz, that is the German soldiers, are telling to the English soldiers that it is a Christmas day and with us we have schnapps, we have sausage. So here you can see I have put the picture of sausage. Okay, so sausage is given, right? It is a kind of a dish. Okay, we meet you. So he is asking, can we meet? Yes. So again he is asking, yes, can we please meet? By this time, there were dozens of them walking towards us across no man's land and not a rifle between them. So, actually, they wanted to celebrate the Christmas, right? There was no kind of a trick, and therefore, they did not have any kind of rifle with them, right? Little Private Morris was the first up. Come on, boys, what are we waiting for? So, Little Private Morris means it is the name of a soldier, okay? And then there was no stopping them. Okay, so the writer is saying that from their side, from the English army also, one of the soldier named Morris stood up and told his companions or the fellow mates that what are we waiting for, we should also join them. I was the officer, I should have stopped them there and then, I suppose. So the writer Jim McPherson is saying that as I was the leader of the English army, I should have stopped them to meet the opposite or the enemy soldiers. I suppose that is what he is saying, that I should have done that. But the truth is that it never even occurred to me I should. That means he is saying that he didn't feel the need to say that you should not go and meet the opposite soldiers, because the situation or the atmosphere was very good and there was totally a atmosphere of friendliness and brotherhood. All along their line and ours, I could see men walking slowly towards one another, grey coats, that is the uniform of German soldiers, khaki coats, that is the color of the uniform of English soldiers, meeting in the middle, that is at the no man's land. And I was one of them. That means the leader himself. Who is the leader? That is Jim McPherson. He was the leader of the English army. He himself went towards the no man's land, right, and towards the German soldiers. I was part of this. In the middle of the war, we were making peace. So in the middle of the war means, as I said in the beginning, that this story is written during the time of 1914 to 1915, when the World War I was going on. Okay, and what he is saying, that we were making peace. So one side the both the countries were fighting with each other, and here the soldiers were making peace, and they were trying to spread peace all over. So as we saw that the soldiers from both the end, that is the British army as well as the German army, got together at the no man's land. Now what they will do and what will happen and how the story proceeds further, to see and understand all that, please watch the second part of this chapter, that is the next video by me. Okay, until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and if you like my video, please subscribe my channel. Okay, till then, thank you so much for watching my video.